Welcome to Free to Be You New York edition. I'm your host, Mary David, and we are here for the New York Fashion Week benefit gala for Freedom Ladder, which is an anti-trafficking organization in partnership with the Set NYC. Together, they are bringing together the worlds of fighting the exploitation of children and fashion to make a great social impact. Join me for some awesome interviews with guests, with designers, with models, all of it. Stay tuned. So excited to be here with Pim Shee, who is the organizer of the Set New York and this benefit that we have tonight. It's a great event that you have so far, and congrats on Thursday.
Thank you.
So how did you get this all to come together?
I'm an event coordinator, and I started this in 2008 and wanted to give back and help people in particular situations where I'm able to give back or protect people. And I decided I've been working a lot with trafficking and anti-trafficking organizations, and I believe bringing people together through fashion, the arts, is a good way to bring people together to enjoy creativity, at the same time give a message of there are people out there in danger, there are people out there who are in bad situations, and we have the ability and power to do something about it through education, through just caring. So that is the reason why this event came together today.
And so doing it through fashion, which is a link that, people might not normally think of, did you overcome any sort of resistance or challenges along the way in bridging these two ideas?
Yes, there was definitely a lot of challenges. I'm probably going through a challenge right now, but it's just I believe in doing what your heart tells you to do, doing something you're passionate in. So if there's a will, there's a way. I believe in life you will always have a challenge.
I'm now here with Thomas Essler, who's the founder of Freedom Ladder, the beneficiary organization for tonight's event. So tell me, Thomas, Freedom Ladder, it started out, it seems like there's this huge nexus between the arts and ending exploitation.
Yeah, it's such an interesting situation. I should really tell you how I got this idea. I remember a few years ago, someone really suggested that it's appropriate to try and give back to the community. And so I just kind of arbitrarily asked myself, well, what do I care about? And immediately my brain answers with a big human trafficking. I hadn't studied it. I hadn't, been affected by it. And yet, I think intuitively I understood that this was an issue that meant unthinkable suffering and needed to be stopped. I almost get teary-eyed talking about it. I guess I feel so strongly about it, and I don't quite know why, but I do. And I think at that point, I opened my eyes to look for some way to give back or make a difference in this area. And a friend of mine was working to fight human trafficking at the time in the New York City court system in something called a department called Crimes Against Children and Sex Crimes. And she came to me one day and she said, I just got out of an event with girls that had been rescued, survivors of human trafficking. And they were all reading comic books. And she said to me, someone should write a comic book about this issue. And suddenly, because I'm a writer, because I love writing, and because I care about this issue, suddenly, in that moment, these two things came together. And I go, oh my gosh, that project is for me.
Wow, I mean, that's such an interesting idea and a
Yeah.
unique concept, because so many organizations that fight human trafficking, they look at the legislative side, or going
Right, yeah.
after
Yeah.
the traffickers, or rescuing the children, which are all valuable and important. But it seems like the goal and the movement in your organization is looking at a more long-term perspective on prevention.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. What our comic book really does is it educates kids, the demographic that's most vulnerable to being trafficked. And experts say that the best way to protect a child is to educate them. And even predators will say that it's almost impossible for them to exploit an educated child, that as soon as a child begins to resist, they'll back off because there's so much at stake for them getting caught, you know? Our comic book is really, even though it's a story, it's like a Nancy Drew story, it's like a child detective story. What it teaches kids is how to recognize a recruitment dialogue, how to effectively deal with a predator, and who they can go to for help. And we consider these 3 tools just really so important in a child being at the forefront of their own protection. These are the same tools that will empower them to protect themselves all through their life. And we're so excited. You know, teachers and mothers are saying, yeah, my students who hate to read, they're reading this over and over again. And I go to schools and they can quote it verbatim. But when you consider that 1 out of every 10 children is exploited sexually, and those are the most conservative numbers I've ever heard. Most of the time I hear 1 out of 4 girls and 1 out of 6 boys. That is a part of our environment that's a threat to children that we just need to teach them how to survive. How do you survive that? And you teach them some really simple things, like make a scene, throw a fit, object. You know, if someone is trying to put pressure on you, if you feel weird, just go. If something feels creepy to you, you have permission to make a scene and yell and tell people to get away from you and leave you alone. And if the kids are in, a public place, that predator's going to back off just like that. And if they're alone, you teach a child they have the right to do whatever it takes to protect themselves.
And that's such a powerful message, especially for young girls and women, really anyone who's potentially exploited, because so often they are held back by this feeling that they can't speak out, that they're not allowed, that they're not supposed to.
Or obey your elders or adults. The adults are there for your protection, so you obey them.
Best.
You do what to say. And for the most part, we want to believe most adults are that. Mm-hmm. Most adults are caring for the little ones around them, even if they don't know who they are or what they are. That's what most adults in our culture are about. And yet, there's some, there's just really evil, bad things going on too. And we just, this is just, a tool that every child should know. They have the right to protect themselves. I have little girls writing to me. Thank you for telling me that I have the right to I'm going to cry. Thank you for telling me that I have the right to protect myself. After reading this comic book, I now know when they say stuff like, now I know when I'm being played. And I can now live without fear.
And make sure to get your copy of Abolitionista.
Abolitionista.com and freedomladder.org.
I'm here now with Blair Edwards featuring Monroe and Sarah Hoops with The Silent Connection. So exciting to be with you guys. What inspired you to be part of this benefit?
I I think it really came from the charity, and we really wanted to give back, and that was a big part of our work and what we want to do at the end of the day is be able to have a purpose, something bigger than just making clothes.
Yeah, for us, we constantly see that there are so many designers out there that are just producing, making more money. So for us to be able to give back is really amazing. So.
It's so wonderful to be here and see the great work that you guys have. As far as so many critics who come out and say, you know, the fashion industry is exploitative and, you know, the links between that and human trafficking, what kind of response do you have for them to sort of challenge that perspective, if there is one?
I would say it's dependent on the company, and I would say it's dependent on the intentions within the company. And so I think it's on the company's part to come out and do things like this and give back and be able to have some other way of looking at fashion instead of seeing fashion as so like in a negative context of some people ruined it for everyone, kind of in that way.
For me, it's kind of like you're making something for other people, so you should make that thing and that whole everything about that company about those people. So serving for the people.
I am just floored right now by these gorgeous designs by the beautiful Costa right here. It's part of the Lost Girls collection. So what inspired you to put this together?
Every season I kind of pick a different theme and I go with it, and usually I try to tell stories or things like that. Like I've done collections based on Joan of Arc and Red Riding Hood and origami and stuff. And this one's a little bit more abstract. I wanted it to kind of have a 60s feeling, and it's vaguely Peter Pan inspired, but it's going to be based on a short story that I wrote a little while ago. And my lookbook is going to look like a storybook, so when I start mailing out the lookbooks and everything, it'll be presented as though it's a story. And so the story is about some girls in the 60s who got thrown into a fallout shelter because they feared disaster. They emerge sometime later. They come out, they don't find anybody, and they just kind of make a society based on the fairy tales they were reading while they were sequestered. So it kind of gets a little Peter Pan-ish, and I wanted it to... I like to do big, fantastical things, but I'm trying really hard to make things a little bit more wearable, and I was like, how do I make it so that it's still me and it's still big and crazy? So the more wearable outfits have bigger headpieces.
Oh, wow.
That's where I can get my creativity in, is when headpieces are involved.
Kristen Costa, Lost Girls.
So for an event like this, which is, you know, also a benefit, how does that strike you, or does it have any personal connection for you?
Yes, I prefer to do things that are for a purpose, because I assume other designers struggle with similar things that I do, but it's always like if you're in an art field or a fashion field, it can be very superficial sometimes. You just think, I mean, not for me. All of these storylines are very personal to me, and I'm working out personal issues every time. But sometimes just showing them seems a little bit surface-y, and so I like it if it's for a cause. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel like this isn't just some self-serving kind of event where it's like, everybody look at what I did. It's also people are paying to get in, and it's for a great cause, and so that makes me feel much better about doing this. I don't think I would be showing at Fashion Week if it wasn't for this event and the fact that it's for charity.
I'm so excited to have snagged away from the backstage Naomi Lofton, who is a model for the Genevieve Kristoff collection. How are you doing, Naomi?
I'm doing great. Just here taking it all in, just excited, really excited to be here.
Yeah, so you are a professional model. You've come out from Ohio for New York Fashion Week. What has been the best part of this experience for you so far?
Just seeing all the people and being able to take everything in and just getting all the experience from Fashion Week and everything that's going on around me. I really appreciate the experience.
So as far as this cause of human trafficking, is that something that you would come across in the modeling industry? I mean, have you heard this term circulating just sort of in everyday life or within the work that you do?
That's definitely a very real pressure for me, actually, because a lot of the things I have to do are around the country and around the world, and that's definitely, human trafficking is something that affects us all, especially in other countries. I mean, jobs are going to come, like, no matter what, you're going to get a job, and it's setting your own principles, you know, and whether or not you pass up on that job, you know, there's always going to be another one for you, even if one that's going to actually bow down to your requirements.
I like that, bowing down to you. So thank you so much for your inspiration. Look forward to seeing you in the show.
Thank you.
I think that breaking the silence, so this is a place, it's an open place. So if we have events in festivals, in areas that there are people and gathering people and people know about the dangers, then you can protect the victims.
So you've worked on this issue in a number of ways. What about Freedom Ladder really draws you to that organization?
When I've met Thomas Essler, I realized that I never believed that we would have a danger in a big city such as New York or in other big cities in the US. I thought that trafficking is only gathered in poor areas, in poor social communities, but that's not the case. Actually, nowadays we see more and more children of upper middle class or even rich families face difficulties of they lose their kids and they don't know where they are, and basically they are exposed to violence, to psychological violence. You don't know where all the dangers comes around. So it's not a specific area right now that we are focusing only in poor areas like Ukraine, Moldova, or Georgia. We have in big, prosperous communities these kind of issues. So I said, no, yeah, I will definitely support this cause. And the New York, the NYPD, they have a special unit combating trafficking in children. It's a serious issue, and people do not speak about it. So it's difficult to find the perpetrators, the ones that create this big issue.
Do you find that people are more open to addressing the issue abroad, or did you in Greece, or did you think that that's a greater opening here in the U.S. for awareness?
I think the community here, the society, it's more open, and people are drawn to, they understand when they are sensitized, they understand the risks, and so they comprehend immediately than other areas. So it's a good event. I think the president, the founder of this organization is doing a good thing.
Joining me now is Abby Nawaga, who is a guest here at tonight's Benefit Fashion Show. What brings you to the event tonight, Abby?
Well, I like the fact that it's support in dealing with helping protecting children and also educating them as well. And I do love fashion, of course. So, yeah.
What have you seen as far as your work in the school system that resonates with you on the issue of human trafficking that maybe helps bring you to this event?
Sometimes we do encounter with children who do come from different other countries, and if we do find out they're sex slaves or whatever issues it is, it could be when they come in and get tested, they might come out positive for an STD. So we kind of have to ask their background on what happened, and if they're dealing with someone that's much older, then it raises a red flag and an awareness of, you know, what's going on
That's huge. And what do you think about this infusion of fashion with this issue of human trafficking?
I like it because it brings awareness, and most people love fashion, of course, so to also address human trafficking, I think this is a really great idea, to combine both of them together.
And in your work, what would you say is the most important thing or a big thing that people don't know about human trafficking that they should know?
I mean, I feel like people need to know there's an awareness that's going on. It's not only just overseas, it's also could be your next door neighbor that's doing it as well. So people need to open up their eyes, and if they hear anything or know anything, they need to contact authorities as soon as possible.
I choose judged because I want to express the concept of never fear to be judged. Because when I first started, it was really hard to show that actually I had a value. So it was really hard, you know. So I like in Italian, giudicato is not that cool. So judge is amazing in English, you know. So today I'm here with this collection that I name Changes. Because with my dresses, actually, you can play and make with one dress different looks. So yeah, so it's a new way to change, and with the economy, the crisis, you know, willing to spend, but at the same time, we play with your dress. So
it shows almost a transformation.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So you said that you had a hard time when you started with being judged. Was that
well, because in fashion you have to, it's really focused on the image that you give. So at the beginning you have to, it's like kind of struggle to decide what kind of style you want to get in, you know. So at the end, finally I'm here with Changes, and I'm happy to share with you.
Yes, oh, we're so delighted.
Thank you.
When you found out about this benefit, the connection to human trafficking and exploitation, is that something that is an issue that you've ever come across in the fashion industry, or?
Like my idea when I will get bigger is like to create a collection where you can, with the money, you can donate. Part of the money are with donation. First of all, because I'm adopted. So I was adopted by an Italian mother and Greek father. So I always wanted to, like, you know, be charity, give like money and help others, and you know, just because I was helped a lot from the beginning of my life. So I'm here tonight.
That's so beautiful, and such a wonderful, inspirational outlook that you have on your life and how you're giving back. And as far as the way that you want women to feel or be seen, what would you say as far as the image that you want them to take with them?
Well, like the girl that I'm showing today, it's really like free. Like she feels good with her body. She's not there like to listen, people judging her. And I want women to be powerful, to be not scared about their looks or about their beauty, because everybody has something, and like they can express themselves, you know, like easily. So I want them to be strong. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I definitely get that impression from standing here with you, the strength of the woman that you are, and it's an honor to have you on the show, and also to see the great work that you're doing.
Thank you.